anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be taking your calls at 877-310-2100. But first, I want to make another couple of comments about the big AHCA, American Health Care Act vote that they may take today. No, that wasn't anything magic about it happening yesterday, other than it would have been the 7th anniversary of President Obama signing the original Unaffordable Care Act. But one of the things that bothers me is that as I look at the list of people, 25, as of yesterday, definite no's, they really don't say why they are against it. The biggest reason that I have heard from some is that it doesn't just do a straight, flat-out repeal. I heard Secretary Price explaining it again this morning. It was for procedural reasons that they broke it up into 3 phases. If they do a straight repeal and just kill Obamacare, you're left with the house that was blown up and it's now in splinters. More people would be hurt. This is the part that I don't get, that they don't get. So you had, as of yesterday, 25 definite no's. Now, whether your representative supports it or not, you still, I suggest, call your representative at the Capitol switchboard, and if you support it, encourage them to vote for it. It's not too late. The Capitol switchboard number is 202-224-3121. Capitol switchboard, 202-224-3121. It doesn't matter whether your representative is a Republican or a Democrat. Ask them to vote yes on the American Health Care Act. If this thing does not get started in the House, it certainly won't be going to the Senate, and it certainly won't be going to the President. And if it doesn't get started in the House and goes nowhere, I assure you, nobody's talking about this, your insurance rates are going to go up again for next year. So all of you that are feeling the pain of deductibles that essentially make you not have health insurance, the deductibles are going to go up. The premiums are going to go up. Why? Because the insurance companies are going to try to find a way to make a profit rather than doing it the old-fashioned way where they compete with other insurers on a market-by-market basis. Phase 1 defangs Obamacare. Phase 2 allows Secretary Price and his staff to undo a lot of the egregious regulations that come after the legislation was done. Phase 3, yes, legislation to clean up anything that was left over that they couldn't legally do in Phase 1 and Phase 2. I don't understand why that's so complicated for people to understand, especially those who are supposed to be voting. Maybe they've been spending so much time trying to figure out how they're going to vote, they didn't sit down for 10 minutes and read the darn thing. The original bill was only 123 pages, not 2,700. Maybe that's why I'm a little passionate about this whole thing. There are no big reasons as to why they shouldn't vote for this, in my humble opinion. I've written about it several times. I've talked about it constantly. Now I need your help. Call the Capitol switchboard at 202-224-3121. Ask for your representative by name, their office. They'll connect you to the office. And just say you're calling to voice your opinion about the Republican American Health Care Act. And they will put you in touch with probably the staffer who is following that particular piece of legislation. Or they might just say, what is your comment? Then go ahead and give them your comment. Here's one thing that I learned when I worked in Washington, D.C., head of the National Restaurant Association. I had many representatives and senators tell me if they hear from 100 of their constituency or more, they pay attention. Oh, yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean it determines how they're going to vote, but they pay attention if 100 or more of their constituents call them. These polls that come out mean nothing about how the American people feel because they are not asking the American people that are feeling the pain. They are asking people who are now scared to death because of the scare tactics of the Democrats. And the AARP put out a scare ad that they're paying money to run on a lot of stations, including this one. It is false and misleading, period. And by the time, and the timing of it was such that people wouldn't have time to figure that out before this vote came up. And so now, of course, you're going to have a large percentage of the American people who are against the Republican plan. Why? They've been brainwashed and fed lies in order to come up with that. 877-310-2100. This is the Herman Cain Show, and it's rapid fire time.
How many callers? How much information can Herman squeeze into the next 20 minutes? Watch him go, Kimosabi. This is Rapid Fire every day with Herman Cain.
Hello, Billy. You've got a minute on rapid fire.
Yes, hi, Herman. I was talking to a couple of my friends about the healthcare situation in the country,
Yes.
And we all agreed that Romney Care morphed into Obamacare. Now Obamacare is morphing into Trump Care. And the problem is people fell for the hype. People were against Obamacare because they were thinking that the Republicans were going to come in and revolutionize healthcare as we know it here in the United States. But that did not happen. You know, people were thinking that the Republicans' plan were going to be basically health savings account. That's what I was told. I was against Obamacare because I was thinking, hey, maybe health savings account for everybody is a better way to go because Obamacare, the deductibles went higher, the premiums went higher, and the reason people are not too confident about the new health care system that the Republicans are trying to put in place is because not only is the AARP against it, but prominent conservative think tanks like the Cato Institute, the Heritage Foundation, and the Congressional Budget Office. They're all against it. I mean, what are we supposed to think here?
Well, I happen to believe that all of those organizations that you mentioned, let's throw in the American Medical Association. You're right. I think that they're against it for the wrong reasons, Billy. And that's why the public is saying, well, they are afraid. They are confused. And I understand that. I happen to think that some of those organizations, I saw another conservative publication that was against it, and I was shocked because I have read much of that stuff, and usually they're on the correct side of some of this. Let's go back to something that you said, which is absolutely true. Obamacare, we were lied to. Many of us know that now. We were just flat out lied to. It is imploding. People can't afford it. Now, here are some things the Republican plan does. They expand the use of health savings accounts rather than cut down the amount you can put into it. They remove the penalties. They remove the penalties. They remove the mandates, which is going to open up competition, which is what we need in order for us to rebuild our health care and our health insurance system. So you are right. People are confused because they're getting all of these mixed messages out there. And that part, I absolutely agree with you.
Well, Herman,
go ahead.
Well, you know as well as I do, the mandate is still there. They just changed the mandate over to a penalty. Okay?
No. The mandate. Wait. Let me explain. The mandate is still there, but the penalty went to zero, and there was an executive order issued that says don't enforce it. The president has the power to do that while they get to the phase where they can totally eliminate it. This is where a lot of people are confused as to how it's going to work, and this is why they have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. I don't see a better way to start this, because if you just say we're going to pass a simple law to repeal it, everything goes away, except you got a building that's lying there in splinters. You have nothing to help those people that are going to be left out in the cold. That's why I support it, Billy. I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't reduce the impact of health savings accounts. It helps to make it better. Thanks for the call. And welcome to the Herman Cain Show. You got a minute on rapid fire. Hello, Ann.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. Go ahead. You've got a minute on rapid fire.
My head is full of pollen, so I'm a little bit stuffy trying to hear. But what I wanted to say is, if they don't pass it, they need to be forced to use it. And it's nothing you can't reason. There's no reasoning at all in this whole situation.
Yes.
One thing I know without even reading it is, if Pelosi and Schumer are for it, it's wrong for America. But I really believe if they do not pass this, they need to use it.
I think that is a great point, because right now, what they have for health insurance coverage doesn't exactly mirror many of the problems that a lot of people have. And that'll be another thing that I'm sure, if it doesn't pass, I'm still cautiously pessimistic that they may go ahead and pass it as this first step. Here's the other thing, Ann. The House passage is just the first step in this fight. And it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a flat-out fight when you get it over to the Senate. Now, I'm disappointed in a lot of the senators who have been talking against it even before they see what it looks like. And the criticism that comes from a lot of people about we've only had 3 weeks. Does it take you 3 weeks to read 123 pages? No. I just think that that's just another flimsy excuse. But I agree with you. If we have to live with Obamacare, then they ought to have to live with it under the same conditions that most of us do. Good point. I hope your sinuses get better, because sometimes that pollen gets to me too, Ann. Larry, you got a half a minute on rapid fire.
Yeah, Herman, I have actually a couple of questions. The biggest one is they say that they can't do everything right now because they need 60 votes if they try to completely repeal it and replace it. They're going to do this with 51 votes, and then they're going to do the other stuff that people don't like about the Obamacare bill under phase 2 and phase 3.
Right.
If you can't get 60 votes now, how are you getting them in 6 months?
Well,
They're still going to be the same in the Senate.
Well, the phase 2 is what I think people underappreciate. That's where Secretary Price has the authority to undo a lot of the regulations that have made it a bad bill. But he hasn't had time to go through all 1,400 regulations. Remember, they drug their feet on confirming him. Now we're trying to pass a bill. He can't be specific yet. Now, you're right. They will have a hard time getting the votes by the time they get to phase 3. But by the time they get to phase 3, things will be so much better that there should be enough pressure we might be able to get it. Let's fight that fight when we get there. But let's at least start the fight. Thanks, Larry. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
Credible, experienced, engaging. Herman Cain.
He keeps it real.
He gives it to you as it is.
Daily solutions for a better America.
Ashley.
Yes.
Kathy looks like a good question for this short segment.
Okay. Yeah, she's got a son who's disabled, so she's hearing all the stuff.
I can answer her question. Find out where she lives, what state.
Georgia.
Okay. I can answer hers. I'll take her when I come back.
Okay.
Use your common sense. Don't turn down the very best. I think there are certain.
Forward, I can't help but notice my colleagues' frustration with the amendments that have been made to this bill along the way. Generally, we celebrate amendments that are made along the way because they improve the work product. We do them together. I point to here, Mr. Speaker, you can't see it, but to a tweet that the president sent out the day the health care bill was introduced. He said, "Our wonderful new health care bill is now out for review and negotiation. And that was true. It was out for review so everyone could read it, and it was out for negotiation so that everyone could improve it. We did that in the Budget Committee. We had 4 motions to instruct that passed in the Budget Committee to provide Medicaid.
No. This is the House. He's a senator.
It's a nonprofit organization that has been providing financial counseling and education for 60 years. Our national network of member agencies have helped millions of consumers with foreclosure prevention.
5 hours of this.
Member agencies are approved by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I'm in almost every school bus and class. I go to school with your children. We say the Tetra believe it together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding
Yes.
America and the Ad Council.
Yes, because I don't have a lot.
Over 5 million people in the United States, many of them older, have a heart condition known as atrial fibrillation, or AFib. I'm Georgia State Senator Nan Orrock. Women in Government urges you to learn the symptoms of AFib.
Okay, he's going to take your call
breathing,
next. Go
chest
ahead and
pain,
take us off that Bluetooth,
dizziness,
please.
fainting,
That's
or
not going to
fatigue.
sound good on the air. You
Treatment
have to
for
have the phone
AFib
in your
can
hand,
return
okay?
the heart to its normal rhythm and sufferers to active lives.
Are you there?
To learn more, visit womeningovernment.org. That's women.
Okay, I don't know what happened. He's going to take you next, but you have to take us off that Bluetooth. Can you put the phone up to your ear?
Most of her 80 years.
Yeah, thank you.
Walking to town.
Yeah, you've got a, you've got a minute. Hold on, okay?
Everyone loves her.
Thanks.
2 years ago, a certain family member moved in to look after Mrs. Clark, and that's when everything changed. Mrs. Clark became the victim of elder abuse.
Elder abuse is often closer to home than you think or want to believe. And what with the crime dog here, the National Crime Prevention Council wants you to know the signs of elder abuse. Bruises, isolation, reduced activities, poor hygiene, depression, and financial problems. Protect yourself.
I know they
can. To recognize signs of abuse in others.
Elder abuse is a crime
Okay.
that 2 million senior citizens every year. Even more astounding, it's most commonly committed by a family member or someone they trusted. If you suspect abuse, contact your local law enforcement agency. To learn more, go to ncpc.org/seniors. That's ncpc.org/seniors. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Department of Justice.
It can begin with an email, a phone call, a flyer in the mail, or perhaps a misleading website. Loan modification scams. They come in all shapes and sizes and under different names. Loan rescue firms, counseling services, mortgage consultants. Sometimes posing as a legitimate mortgage company willing to help you modify your loan and get caught up with your payments. But beware, these are highly trained con artists looking to steal your home. They often know who you are, where you live, and because it's public record, know if you are on the brink of foreclosure. You're not alone, however. The National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice have partnered to help homeowners identify and steer clear of these scam artists.
McGruff the Crime Dog here. Protect your home and safeguard your finances. It only takes a little time to become informed. Start by finding a free legitimate housing counselor today.
Take the first step. Visit www.ncpc.org/mortgagefraud. That's ncpc.org/mortgagefraud. This message is from the National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. Kathy is up next during our rapid fire section. Hello, Kathy. You've got a minute on rapid fire.
Hi, it's good to talk to you.
Thank
you.
you.
For my call.
Thank you.
I have a question, or it's mainly a statement, but I have a son with a disability
Right.
who receives Medicaid services.
Right.
He is also on a long waiting list for services through Medicaid as well. And my question is, they're saying they're going to cut in this new health care bill that they're going to cut Medicaid by 880, I think it was $880 billion through 10 years or something like that. And I'm very conservative, and I am ready for a change because my healthcare premiums and deductibles have skyrocketed, and we can't afford as a family to go to the doctor. But my son, he relies on Medicaid as well as our insurance. So my question is, what is the actual? I mean, are they going to cut back Medicaid that much?
Okay, the terminology they're going to cut, I'm not sure what that means, but here's what I do know. Medicaid is not going to go away. Secondly, when they talk about cutting, some states accepted the expansion of Medicaid when the Democrats did it with Obamacare. Some states did not. What the current AHA bill says is you're not going to be forced to expand it if you don't want to, and if you accept if you don't want to, and those that have Medicaid, it's going to continue. The cut could be they aren't going to expand it in the states that didn't take it. I'm not sure about that terminology. But the Medicaid program in Georgia, I think that's where you're from, is not going to go away. Thanks, Kathy. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show. Don't forget, go to HermanCain.com. You just might learn something. Be back.